How about you guys? When you guys got married that day, were you excited? Some people were sweating. All right, we have Siam and Candy who joined us today. Welcome to our couple seminar. We've been talking about different things, and first, remember, we spoke about getting, listening to understand. The purpose was that we take time to listen to our spouses, to try to understand our spouses, listen to me with the interest of really understanding, and that would help us to know why they do the things that they do. Okay? And each one of us, we have our characters, we have our issues, we have our things, and we find out that when we married somebody, most of the time you married them because of 2 or 3 different things about them that you really liked them. But my point that night was that that's not all you married. You married the whole package. You married everything. You cannot just choose and pick what you're going to marry. You know, and most of the time somebody says, well, why you married that person? And we have these 2 or 3 different things of why you married them. But the thing is that you have to remember that you married the whole package. And a lot of times you're going to find out that you married things that you didn't like. And when we talked about the things that made up a person, that the person was made up of their environment, they was made up of their family, they were made up of their culture, they were made up of their experiences with their father, their experiences with their mother, and when you marry that, you marry all of that. So it's important for us to be able to understand that person. And we listen to understand a person. Now, then we talked about also the opportunity for us, to live within us, and to live within us and be able to, when we got married, that we would not lose our individuality. Okay? That we get married and we don't lose our individuality. That sometimes people said, I wanted to do this, I wanted to accomplish these things, but then I got married. Okay? And then we sort of begin to take a role that someone else expects us to do, and we sort of lose who we really are. And we talked about that when you help your spouse become everything that they wanted to be, you actually get a better spouse because they're happier. So a lot of times it's good to find out, and we talked about, finding out what is it something you've always wanted to do? What are things that you've always wanted to accomplish? And I talked to you about my wife and how, I wanted her to pass her nursing school. And at the end of the day, even after many years of marriage, she was a better wife. Why was she a better wife? Because she was a better person. Okay? Making a better person makes a better wife, makes a better husband. And the thing is that sometimes when we get married, we lose our individuality. And when you lose that individuality, then you're not happy. And when you're not happy, guess what? You don't make a good spouse. Okay? So a lot of times, we have to find out, we have to really love that person, and we find out what they really wanted to do, and we say, come on, you can do it. And we talked about how there is no reason to not do it, because now that you're married, now you're a team. Now you can help each other reach that. Whatever it is, maybe it's a career, maybe it's just places you wanted to go, maybe it's things you wanted to do, and there's no reason to put away those things that we've always wanted to accomplish just because you got married. Okay? Today we're going to talk about, you are valuable, about how do we make our spouses feel valuable. And a lot of times that's missing in a marriage. I've seen sometimes couples, and I see them, deal with each other. And sometimes one of the things that I've seen where they're in a group and a couple is there, and the woman or the man says something, just gives an opinion. And the spouse will actually sit there and laugh at that opinion. To me, if my wife and I are together and we're with a group of people and she gives her opinion, I don't care how ridiculous it might sound. Somebody else may laugh at it or something, but not me. Okay? And even if I believe that she's wrong, I will stick up for her. I will stick up for her. And a lot of times when people are discussing subjects and discussing things, and sometimes, maybe you're talking about the house, maybe you're talking about things, the color you should do, whatever, and one of the spouses gives an opinion. The way you react to that opinion says a lot about how valuable their opinion is to you. Okay? And a lot of times it might be ridiculous, but sometimes we as spouses, we become so used to each other that we think that when we put each other down, that it doesn't hurt the other person. Okay? And the thing is that we have to remember that no matter how long we've been married, no matter how long we've been with a person, they're still a person. And it's incredible how, and the reason, and when we forget that, that's when you realize that our spouses sometimes treat other people better than they treat us.
Science.
So the thing is that no matter who they are, we should respect our spouses even more than we respect other people. True. And the thing is that a lot of times we don't do that. I remember one time, and I, like I said, and my wife knows this, that I told her when I talked about doing this seminar, because I'm not a psychologist and I'm not a licensed marriage counselor, and I said I'm going to do this based upon my own experience, our own experience, and upon the experience of doing marriage counseling for so many years as a pastor. But I remember a turning point in our marriage, and that turning point was when my wife and I came to stay at my parents' house, and we were there for a while. We decided, because of certain financial situations that my parents and us were going through, that it's better if we united, and we were there. And when that happens, I don't know if it happens to most of you, but in the Hispanic culture, the parents feel that they have a right to discipline the children, your children, and they, so when you're with the whole family together. And I remember one night there was an issue, and my mother wanted one thing and my wife wanted another thing, and about the children, and the argument started getting heated, and here I am, between two women that I love. Okay? And as we're standing there and they're both going at it, and it was getting pretty tough, and I had to tell my mother, it's our children, and it's what Anna says. That's what happens. It's going to be what she says. And I remember that my mother didn't speak to me for a couple days. But guess what? That was the last time I had to do that. She understood that I loved her as my mother, and I was going to continue loving her the same way. But this is my wife. And when we talk about, giving value to our spouses, and a lot of times it begins within the family. It begins within the family, where whatever happens, you're going to take your spouse's side. And if you need to correct them, you're going to do it alone. You're going to do it alone. You're going to say, you know what, I stood up for you back there, but you know what, I think you were wrong. Okay? And I think you should have gone this way, and we'll go back and try to fix it. But the thing is that you do not throw your spouse under the bus. Okay? In any type of situation. Also, you value your spouse by having interest in their person. Having interest in their person. A little bit about what we've been talking about the last 2 meetings. What do you like? What do you want? What do you want to accomplish? This is not just about me. It's about you. What are the things that you want to do in life? And the idea of saying, I want to learn about you. Do you know that there are people who don't know what they want? You'd be surprised how many people, if you ask them right now, tell me, what is it that you really want? I don't know. And sometimes we need to help people discover what they want. And by asking them, questions, what is it that you've always wanted to do? Where have you wanted to go? But the idea of doing that means that you value them. Because sometimes us as men, we can run what we want to do, and sometimes maybe our wives, if they're for our culture or whatever, where they're used to the man really running the show, a lot of women just feel like their responsibility is just to follow the man wherever he wants to go, whatever he wants to do. And they believe that that's their duty to do that, and what happens that they're constantly with holding back issues, holding back from not really accomplishing things. And guys, if you ever feel that your wife is doing it, sometimes you have to catch yourself, because us as guys, we think everything is great. She loves everything I love. No, she doesn't. And you find she's just agreeing with everything and going, oh my gosh, she'll take anything. Oh, don't worry about it. We'll go to any restaurant. We'll live anywhere. We will move anywhere. One day you really have to stop and say, honey, hold up. What is it how about you? What do you want? And sometimes when you ask them that, they're so used to just going with the flow, just going along, that they'll say, I don't know. See, now that's a problem. Don't you think that's a problem? When a person says, I don't know what I want. All of a sudden, what I'm saying is you're giving them value, because you're saying, I want to know what you want. I want you to be happy. I want to know what it is that you want. So having that interest, having that desire to do that, also respecting their opinions and in doing it their way. Sometimes in a marriage, you find that not always both opinions are being respected. One of the things that I've learned after 33 years of marriage, I've learned that my wife is smarter than I thought. I found out that she's smarter than I gave her credit for when we first got married. And I found out that I have gained from listening to her more. Where before, I probably thought I didn't have to listen. I knew where I was going. I knew what I was doing. Everything, I don't worry about it. And I've gained from listening to her more. I've gained from listening to her insight more. And we as a couple, you can realize and you can know when you are really the driving force, okay? You can know that. And a lot of times you realize that you're the one getting your way all the time. Okay? Look at yourselves. And you might know which one of you, and if you're the one that's getting your way all the time, you're the one that needs to slow down and ask the other person, what do you want? You're the one who needs to slow down and begin to listen to the other person. Listen to them before they stop talking. Because the time will come when they will just stop talking and say, whatever. My opinion doesn't count anyway. So I'll just hang on to this as long as I can. And those are the marriages that sometimes you say, I can't believe they look so happy. And one day the other person says, hey, I found somebody who values my opinion. I found somebody who will sit and listen. I found somebody who thinks that what I say is important. So listening to them shows that you value them and respecting their opinion. This is going to sound a little crazy, but you know what also I think gives a little bit of value? A little bit of jealousy. How about that? How about a little bit of jealousy? Because a little bit of jealousy is not bad. When we all know when someone is, someone of the opposite sex of our spouse is overstepping, and a lot of times, just a little bit of saying, hey, what's up? I don't like that. A lot of times, a little bit of that. Don't be this person who drives them crazy, okay? Who are you talking to? Where you going? Where you going now? What you doing? I saw that. No. I'm talking about in modesty. Hey, you know what? I don't mind. You're always going to find somebody who's going to try to hit on you or your wife or whatever. But don't be this kind of guy who's, somebody's trying to hit on your wife and you're like, hey, man, I don't care, whatever she wants. That woman's going to look and say, really? It's like, you don't care? You don't care if somebody does that? Or if you're a man, it's, the funniest things I hear, I love hearing a lot of times women in this scenario where they're telling other women about how they were at the store and how this guy tried to, get fresh with them. And they're like, my God, it was so embarrassing. My husband, he wanted to fight this guy. He was, oh my God, he went crazy. But they love telling that story because they love saying, really what they're saying, they're really excited about. He was willing to fight for me. You know, and they love talking about it. Oh my God, I was so embarrassed. No, you're not. They were actually excited that he was willing to fight for them. You know, and so the thing is that a lot of times a little bit of jealousy, it doesn't have to be big, but a little bit of jealousy, shows, hey, wait a minute, you belong to me. You know, be careful. I see what that guy's doing. I see what that woman's doing. You know, and believe me, guys, when your wife tells you that a woman is trying to hit on you, she's trying to hit on you. Women can pick that up. Women can pick that up a mile away. So whenever she tells you, you say, yeah, and what you gonna do about it? You know, I mean, just believe it. Just believe it. So but a little bit there, but so don't act like you don't care, because believe me, when your a spouse or whatever just allows things to go on, it makes the other person think, is this person trying to get rid of me or what? So a little bit of jealousy sometimes is good. Also, letting your spouse know what they do for you. Letting them know that they're bringing something to the table. That you're not doing them a favor. They actually do something for you. They actually bring something to the table that's important in your joy, in your happiness, in your success, in your business, in whatever you do. You let them know that what they bring to the table is important. And a lot of times we don't do that. And a lot of times we need to sit down and say, honey, you do this for me. You do this for me as a person. You make me complete in this area. You make me happy. Let them know what it is that they do for you. Isn't that how we make people feel valuable? Right? If you're at a job, if you're working, do you not like it when your boss comes up to you and says, let me tell you something, you're doing something special for this company? How do you feel? You won't even take a break that day. I mean, you're like, boy, lunch? What? I don't eat lunch. You won't even, because you're so excited. Now, imagine making your spouse excited that way. I promise you, a lot of things are going to happen that night. Okay? So the thing is, if you let them know what they do for you, and sometimes there are spouses that actually wonder if they do anything for their partner. They actually wonder and say, I wonder if they would be better if I were just to leave. I wonder myself if I bring anything to this. And believe me, there are spouses that I get spouses all the time that tell me, Pastor, I don't even know why I'm there. My opinion is not respected. They never listen to me. I'm the last one that knows what's going to happen. A realtor walks in, yeah, we're selling a house. What? Yeah, we're selling a house. Really? You don't think that happens? It happens. It happens. And the person says, why am I here? Oh, didn't I tell you we were moving? We are. Okay. You know, and the person asks, you know, why am I here? So to make a person feel valuable is letting them know what they do for you. Be clear, you know. Sit down and say, listen, here's what you do for me. You know, you fulfill these areas in my life. And part of the reason why I am who I am is because you have done that for me. So letting them know. Also, like the Bible says, women, respect your husbands. The Bible says that. For women to respect their husbands. And it's been told that, you know, it's been said by marriage counselors that one of the greatest things, one of the things that is important for a man is to be respected. The man must be respected. It says, and then it says, men love your wives. And one of the most important things for a woman is to be loved. But sometimes, as a mother, you can disrespect your husband with your children. His word is not important. And your children can pick that up like that. As a wife, never talk bad about your husband in front of your children. You're teaching them to disrespect their father. Whatever you got to say to your husband, you say it to him. But you don't go around the house blabbing. You know, one of those where you're going to start talking to yourself, you know? You know what I'm talking about. Your children are listening. Your children are listening, and you're teaching them to disrespect that man. And the same thing, husbands with their wives. Love your wives. As a father, never let your children disrespect your wife. You know, no matter what, you stick up for each other in the home. The children need to know that they can never divide you. No matter what. Even if your spouse is wrong. If they're wrong, you pull them to the side inside the room and say, listen, bam, bam, here's this, I think this, you know, we can come together on this decision and do this. But don't do that in front of the children. Don't do that in front of everybody. You defend each other. If there's something, and believe me, if there's something that gives children security, is knowing that their parents are on the same wavelength. If they can divide you, they think they might be winning, but at the end of the day, they really feel insecure. What gives them security is seeing that unity, that they are on the same wavelength, so that way they know that there's something solid all the time. Something they can depend on. And husbands, love your wives. Show them love. Show them tenderness. Women need to feel that they are loved. While the greatest thing for a man is that he is respected. That he is respected. And the thing is, I don't know if you've read the book or gone through the seminar, Love and Respect. There's a book and a seminar, it comes out everything, Love and Respect. And it shows it as a circle, because what happens is that a woman says, well, how can I respect my husband when he's like this and like this? No, what the book says, the Bible says, respect them no matter what. And the husband is love your wife no matter what. So if you begin that idea of saying, I'm going to respect no matter what, and I'm going to love no matter what, then everything begins to work perfectly. Also, let others know how great your spouse is. Let others know about that. When you get the opportunity, give the testimony. You know, it doesn't have to be everywhere you go, because that gets kind of, it's like everywhere. I mean, be moderate, okay? Because you get to the point, oh, but here we go again. It's make sure you only do it one time in the same group, okay? If you already did it in that group, take it easy, because it gets to the point where you're like, okay, But the thing is that let people know, how great your spouse is, and as you do that in front of people, it makes them feel good, and it lets them know what you think about them. Let them know that you want them and desire them sexually. Let them know that you desire them and that you want them sexually. Okay? And a lot of times, that is not expressed. And let me tell you something, ladies. For men, that's crucial. That's crucial. When us as men, if our wives were to never express their sexual desire for the husband, it is very easy for the husband to feel like that he's not sexually appealing to his wife. And if he's the one who is constantly aggressive, it gets to the point where the man will think that the woman is actually doing him a favor to have intimacy with him. And it does wonders for a man when the woman expresses. And a lot of women are like, yeah, I just don't know, I'm scared. What I say, you're married, you can do it.
Testify.
Nobody's gonna think anything wrong. I'm gonna tell you how funny. Sometimes I call my wife and I say, come on, lie to me. Lie to me. I say, I'll take it. Lie to me and tell me you can't wait till I get home. All right. So the thing is for a husband, for a man, that is crucial for him to feel valuable. Because a man wants to feel, and he feels valuable when he knows that he's making his wife happy, not only because the lights turn on every night and there's running water and the toilet flushes, okay? That's not the only reason why they want to feel valuable. They actually want to feel valuable because they do something for you sexually. Okay? Okay? Well, I'll see you two later after. Okay? But the thing is that is very valuable for a woman, and when the woman doesn't do that, you're really hurting the self-esteem of your husband. And ladies, there are aggressive women out there. There are aggressive women out there who have no problem in saying that to someone who's not even their husband, which might be yours. Okay? So the thing is, in this area, forget about what should be. What's the correct way of acting? Forget about that. Okay? We're not in heaven yet. Okay? We're not in heaven yet. And there are things that exist within human beings, within men and within women, that still exist. And the marriage is the perfect place to protect that. And the marriage is the perfect place to protect that. Because within the marriage, all of that can happen. But the thing is, for a man to feel valuable, one of the ways, we've talked about many ways, and I've just explained one of the ways, is that the man must feel that he is desired sexually by his wife. And you can take that and you can, do whatever you want with it. And if you don't want to believe me, that's okay. You'll discover it on your own. Okay? But it is also the other way around. It is also the other way around for the man to let his wife know that she is appealing to him sexually. That she is not just a nice woman. Oh, honey, you're so nice. No, sometimes she wants to hear, even though because of the way they were brought up, whatever, are like, they're like embarrassed by it, But they do want to hear from their husband that they are sexually appealing to them. And it's one of the ways of feeling valuable within a marriage. It is not the only way. We've talked about many different ways, but a lot of times couples can just enter into the physical act of sex without talking sex. And talking sexually to each other is important. Is important. It's not only getting home and having sex. Is the idea of telling each other that you are appealing to each other sexually. That's what you're married for. It's within the marriage. And that is something, especially as we're all getting older.
Well,
start putting on a little bit of weight. Not looking the same as when we were 25. All those kinds of things, we can joke about them and we can do that, but inside they do begin to affect us. Okay? And we can look at ourselves in the mirror and say, "Ooh, man, I don't look too good." All right? But when our spouses come around and says, You look good. You know, I desire you. I see you and I want to be with you intimately. That will turn all that they said they didn't like, it will turn all that around. It will turn all that around. Because in the marriage, true love for your spouse is what makes the best sex in the world. And you desire your spouse, not only because of the way they look, it's because you love them. And you love them passionately. Okay? And the thing is that they must know that. They must hear that from you. They must know that because their body is telling them something different. So therefore, you need to tell them the opposite. Because, and at the end of the day, it's really the way you really feel anyway. But it must be expressed. It must be told. Sometimes women have the greatest husbands in the world. They feel they have the greatest husbands in the world, and they're constantly telling them about how good of a husband he is. And as I remember a guy telling me this. He tells me, he says, "Pastor, my wife loves me. My wife, she can't stop talking about how great I am. But Pastor, we haven't been intimate in a month." She goes, "You know what? I don't want to be a good man. I want to be a bad man." I'm tired of being so good. It seems like bad men have more sex than good men. So I'm tired. I don't want to hear how good I am. I don't want that anymore. You know, I want to get home and see you on the Victoria's Secret on. I don't want to be a good man anymore. So, like what we said before, you know, talking good about it, says, you know, you can talk about good, you can talk, you know, but the thing is that we are made up of different parts. We're not just made up of one. We're made up of different parts, and we're going to try to hit as many of them as we can to make the person happy and to make the person feel valuable. Also, show interest in their passion. Show interest in their passion. Maybe women, maybe you're not into sports that much, you know. But you can sit down for 20 minutes in a football game and ask, how is this played? And you know what? And we love to explain it to you because we love to show you how much we know. And we'll be like, really? We'd be like, really? You really want to know? Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what all the screaming and hollering is about. I mean, you jumping all over the place. You're jumping, you know, over the sofa and back this way, and you rolling on the floor. And you doing what? Why do you do that? You know, and you know, and sometimes you know the women, their passion. I don't know. Maybe it's sewing. Maybe you want to sit down next to them one day and say, "Honey, why is that thread that way? You know, why do you do that? You know that really looks cool. You know, I really like what you're doing. And, you know, and I mean, you can do the ultimate. I mean, the ultimate for me would be to, you know, go to the mall, you know, walk around. You know, walk around the mall. Okay, here we go. You know, We've been here an hour. Honey, it's only 5 minutes. Oh, man, I could have sworn it was an hour. As they take their carts, and fill them up with stuff, right?
Put them all back.
Put them all back. Right, put them all back. Fill them up with stuff. Let me walking around. At first, I used to get scum like, wow, I ain't buying all that. She'd be like, I'm not buying. I'm just taking it. And, filling up these carts, you're like, what are you doing, And then all of a sudden, 2 hours later, I'm going home. Well, you're like going like, crap, this is what we came for. All right, that was fun. All right, let's go. This was great. But the thing is that sometimes, we can find out, what our spouse's passion is, and actually be able to sacrifice. Make the sacrifice and try to understand their passion a little bit. Also, I only have two more. Allow your spouses to vent. Allow them to vent. Sometimes they don't have a good day at work. Sometimes they don't have a good day at anything. And sometimes they just want to vent. Listen, let them go. Even though you don't understand half the stuff they're saying, that's okay. Just listen. Let them vent. Let them, you know what? And if you don't listen and cut them off, they will find somebody else to vent to. They'll find somebody else to vent to. Because we have to, right? We have to vent. We have to say to somebody, our pain, our suffering, our anger, whatever, if it's at work, if it's anywhere, we have to do that. It's going to happen somewhere. And we should give time for our spouses to vent. Sometimes they need to vent about their job. Sometimes they need to vent about their school. Sometimes they need to vent about the kids. Sometimes they need to vent just how they feel about themselves. Sometimes they need to vent about the neighbor. Sometimes they need to vent about the dog. Sometimes they need to vent about anything. Anything. And you have to give them the time to do that and actively listen. You know what it means to actively? Remember, they're not asking for your opinion when they're venting. Don't fall for the trap. I mean, if you're a husband and if your wife is venting and in the middle of venting she goes, what do you think? Don't fall for that. It's a trap. You just because she's got the answer to that. Don't try to fix that. She only wants to vent. So don't try to give an answer. Don't try to fix. Well, don't start saying, well, I think you should. Don't do that. She's not asking you. She only wants to vent. There's traps in marriage. You got to be careful. Sometimes the men, you got to understand women how they talk. Like when you want to go somewhere, and you're arguing about going, and then she goes, "Just go." Don't go. It's a trap. If you start walking out the door, she'll be like, "Where you going?" You said to go. What? So there's certain, you got to know there's certain tones in voice where yes means no. And go means don't go. But the thing is that when a woman wants to vent, or when the man is venting, when either one of you is venting, take the time to listen to them and act like what they're saying is important. Actively listening means yes. Say yes. Oh wow. Yes. What? Oh my God, I said that to you? Oh, I can't believe that. Oh, I can't believe you take, oh my goodness. Actively, listen, don't fall asleep. Because then now it's going to go off on you, Now the conversation will go from her boss to like, you always do that. I'm not important to you. You're like, oh my God, how did I get in this? So now it's about you, that venting, all that anger towards somebody else, now it's coming down on you, You're like, what did I do? All right, so actively listen, but allow your spouses to vent. Also, last one, there's many. We could go on for so long, and there's many. But one of the ways is by accepting their family, loving their family, accepting their family. There's nothing worse when you feel that your spouse doesn't accept your family, because you're caught in between. Okay? And when your spouse feels that they have no need to accept your family or love your family, you don't feel like you're valuable enough for them to sacrifice or to take something, or to just, to love your family. Okay? When our spouses make an effort to love our family how they are. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter how loud they are. It doesn't matter, as growing up, and I remember, my sisters bringing their boyfriends into a Cuban culture. It was something. I remember those poor guys coming into that culture, and coming into my home, and coming to our big family reunions, and listening to everybody talk loud, And the thing is that I was always the kid who had to, they couldn't take it, and my mom was always the one, Juanito, go talk to them, because sometimes they didn't speak Spanish or whatever, and they would tell me, how can you even understand each other? And I would say, no one is saying anything worth understanding. Nobody's trying to understand anybody. Everybody just trying to talk. What makes you think we say anything in there worth understanding? Okay, so when we and it's so hard, sometimes families are difficult, sometimes but when my wife makes the effort to accept my family and to love my family, you know what I'm talking about, right? How do you feel when you see your spouse, hug your family and say, I love you, to your aunt or to your mother or to your father or to whatever? You know what it does to you, right? You know what it does to you. When you made that connection. You made that connection. And that is a way of feeling valuable. You know why? Because sometimes that it's difficult for them to do, but they're doing it for you. They're doing it for you. But when you feel you're not worth them doing that, it hurts. It hurts. So accepting and loving each other's family, we love it. We know we all do. We love it when our spouses love our family. And a lot of times, we're the first ones who know that our family is not perfect. We know that. But we're stuck with them. Okay? We're stuck with them. There's no way out. All right? And our spouses, and we as a spouse or our spouses must understand that that's the way it is. We have no way out of this. Listen, I have to go eat with them sometime, okay? I'm going to have to go to family reunions, and just imagine now I got to go, and I know my spouse doesn't want to be there. You know, you know what kind of tension that creates. You know, but if you know that happens, and all of a sudden your spouse says, "Honey, you're ready. I can't wait to go see your family." You're like, "Whoa, man!" It's like this whole load will come off. Okay, so one of the ways that we make our spouses feel valuable is when they accept our families and when they love our families. So I gave you 11 of them today. One is having interest in the person and helping them understand themselves. 2, respecting their opinions and doing things their way. A little bit of jealousy, letting them know what they do for you. Women, respect their husbands. Husbands, love your wives. Let others know how great your spouse is. Want them and desire them sexually. Show interest in their passion. Allow them to vent, and also accept their family. You could probably think of a lot of different ways as you know your spouse better, as you get to know them. You probably know which is, a better way, what things they need that you can help them feel valuable. But always remember that as you make your spouse feel good about themselves, you're ending up with a better spouse. Okay? You always win. This is a win-win situation all the time. In marriage, you hear about deals in business that are win-win deals. In marriage, every time you do something that makes your spouse feel good, it is a win-win situation. It's almost as if you were doing it for yourself all the time, every single time. But when we love our spouse, we're willing to do anything. We want to see them smile. We want to see them enjoy life. We want to we want to know that they're happy that they're with us. That they would not have wanted to be with anyone else, and that they're happy to be with us. Let us bow our heads and pray today and finish. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for showing how you value us. You valued us enough to send your Son to die on the cross for us. And if, Lord, you did that for us, we know, Lord, that we are valuable. We are valuable in your eyes. Help us to be valuable in each other's eyes too. We thank you for this evening, and take us home safely in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen.